Welcome to Bet on It NFL edition. I am Kelly Stewart with my guys, Marco D'Angelo and Gianni Corrales of WagerTalk.com. If this is your first time watching the show, our goal here is to make you a better. And also, you're a week late because we crushed last week in the NFL. And that is our goal each and every week here on Bet on It. So I'm going to start it off hot, guys. Thursday night, I've got my WagerTalk odds screen open. New England Patriots at the Atlanta Falcons. This one is mighty crazy. We're starting to see sevens pop up here in favor of the Patriots. Total 47.5. Mark, I'm going to go to you first. These home dogs have been barking in prime time, and I think I'm looking at betting another one here on Thursday night.
Well, Kelly, I looked at this one, and I didn't get excited about a side, but I did land on the total. And I'm looking at the under in this one. And I know if you're going to look off the surface and see this 4-game winning streak for the Patriots, you're going to say, hey, they've scored 54, 27, 24, and 45 during that 4-game winning streak. They might be able to get to the total by themselves. Well, they could, but I just don't see it happening. What I'm seeing here, what I'm going to expect to see, I should say, is New England. They're doing well, and there's no question Mac Jones has emerged as the best quarterback, it appears, in this year's draft. Look at that. Bill Belichick found a quarterback. But if you look at the splits, New England's going a little bit of old school football. Their run pass split is 28 run, 33 pass, almost 50%, getting pretty close to it. But if you look at the last 4 weeks when they have been winning, they have run the football 32, 39, 39, 34 times. They are finding defenses that they can dominate at the line of scrimmage. Well, guess what? They've got another one of those type of defenses tonight, or I should say on Thursday night in Atlanta. I think you're going to see Bill Belichick run the football, control the clock, keep Atlanta, who does have a potent offense, off the field. And, last week I was against this Atlanta Falcon team because I said, hey, this is a bad spot for them. They were coming off an upset. They were going on the road for a second week in a row to play Dallas with a Thursday night game on the horizon. Well, that was what happened last week. They got railroaded. I think you'll see a better effort out of them tonight. Let's see this one stay as a close game, but stay under the 47.5. I'm going to go ahead and take the under. You might want to wait till game day because you know that when we get to Thursday, when John Q. Public arrives on the scene, they ain't betting the under on primetime.
No, they are not. Primetime unders have also been doing pretty well, particularly on Thursday nights this season. VR, has anything come across your screen in regards to Thursday night football?
Yeah, I bet the New England side. I gave them out at -6.5 as a 3% play. And if they get above the 7 mark, which I hope they do, I'm going to use them in a teaser because I think a lot of bettors are going to be scared after last week when Baltimore dropped the ball on Thursday. But like I said, if you have an edge, you're going to win long term. That doesn't guarantee you're going to win every bet, every day, every week, or every month. But if you manage risk correctly and you keep applying that edge, when the dust settles, you're going to be up money. It's very simple, kind of like losing weight. We all know what you got to do. You don't eat more than you should. I mean, again, I don't mean to be cruel, but I say this because I was 240 pounds. And it wasn't because I had a genetic disorder. It wasn't because I was big boned. It wasn't because of any reason. It was because I like cheesesteaks. I like pizza. I like smoking weed and sitting on my couch. That's why I was 240 pounds. But as soon as I stopped those things and did the right things, you get in shape. I mean, that's just the truth. And it's the same with sports betting. If you do the right thing, you're going to be successful. And the right thing is teasing through 7, 6, and 3. So if this goes above that 7 where it's sitting now, I will use it in a teaser regardless of how the Wong teaser did last week or the last 5 weeks. Because I know big picture, it's a winning proposition. Now, why do I like New England? They're so much better. This Atlanta team's as phony as a $3 bill. They're as inconsistent as they come. And the reason for that is simple. The only reason they win football games is when they're able to throw the ball successfully against defenses that are weak in that department. That's not happening on Thursday night. They're facing a New England team that they're going to have a lot of problems with. If you look at the passing success rate for Atlanta, great, 15th, top 15, not bad. You look at New England right now, they're sitting at number 11. I think many would be surprised, but it's on the defensive side of the ball. Atlanta, 27th in passing success rate defensively, while New England, on that very same coin, on the flip side, is 4th. Atlanta's going to have a lot of problems having any success passing the football. That's going to stifle the run game, and eventually New England's going to systematically break them down and win this football game and extend the margin and cover that spread probably by double digits. Like I said, I went ahead and laid the 6.5. I agree with Marco's under. We'll get to that later. The reason for that is because there's one thing Atlanta's going to be able to do is they'll be able to, defensively at least, slow Atlanta down somewhat. They're good against the run. That makes it easier to defend against the pass. So I agree there. But for the Thursday night football pick, I'm going to give you New England at -7, but I gave them out at 6.5. Remember, bottom line is this. Regardless of where this number goes, here's what you need to know. 7.5 minus 105 is the same as 7 minus 120. 7.5 minus 110 is the same as 7 minus, like we said last week, 125 to 127, depends which quant you argue with. So don't let the half point scare you if it's within that parameter, and more importantly, don't let it cause you to make a mistake of buying points. It's a mistake. Get that out of your arsenal. Parlays, gone. Buying points, gone. Teasers, only through 7, 6, and 3. Boom. I just made your life so much easier. You just saved about so many tickets in the future. If you just toss those 3 from your tool belt. Parlays, buying tickets, and the only teasers you do is in NFL, and it's only when it goes through 3, 6, and 7, all 3 of those. Otherwise, you don't fuck with it. You lay minus 110 and bet the spread like normal human beings. Don't get more creative. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. I want you to win. That's my goal, or at least lose less. That's the bottom line. So go New England.
Great goal to have. I personally don't like to lay road chalk in the NFL, but that's just me. We'll get to that a little bit later. Yes, except for last Thursday night when I did that with the Ravens. How crucial. Speaking of letdown spots, God, Sunday night, where we are, Marco and I with his Steelers, Saturday night, Marco and I with his Steelers find out no Big Ben. They'd have been a tie with the Lions. And this one was all the way up to 6 over on the WagerTalk odds screen. It's off the board in a couple of places, and it's probably because people are wondering if Big Ben is going to play or not. I'm going to go ahead and guess and say that he is going to play. Marco, 5.5 is the current line, total 47. Your thoughts on Sunday Night Football?
Well, Kelly, based on the number that we're seeing, I'm saying they're leaning more towards Ben not. He is listed as questionable right now, and that's the thing. With COVID, we're not going to know, until late in the week if he's going to pass protocol or not. How I'm going to attack this game, though, is this. The line is what it is, and I think that it'll only go down if Ben is announced that he will play. So don't wait. If you're going to take the Steelers, now's the time to do it. Also, I know you're going to look and say, how in the world would I even want to consider taking the Steelers this week if they have to go with Mason Rudolph after last week's debacle? They couldn't beat the Detroit Lions. No, they couldn't. But I'll tell you what, they had a couple things going against them. Obviously, we always talk about the injured player theory. This was an injured player theory that happened literally, less than 12 hours before the game was going to kick off. We got the word Saturday night in Pittsburgh. We were at dinner when it broke, and as upset as I was, we still managed to eat a pretty good meal that night with that news. But that said, Mason Rudolph, when you're the backup quarterback, you're going to get very few snaps during the week. You'll get one day where you'll get a few snaps, but you're running an offense that is geared for the other quarterback. The game plan is the other quarterbacks. We talk about injured player theory. When a guy gets hurt, has the full week, everybody rallies around him. Yeah, everybody rallied around Mason Rudolph on Sunday, and they took the opening drive right down the field, and you thought, hey, this was going to be no problem. But that was about it. There was a long hiatus after that, and then some unbelievable calls in that game. Phantom roughing the kicker, Phantom roughing the quarterback, and then the Steelers helped out with 3 turnovers in the game that killed them, a couple key fumbles when the rain was coming in that second half hard. This is the bottom line. Mason Rudolph will be prepared this week if he is the quarterback. He'll get the snaps this week. Secondly, he'll have the game plan designed for him, not for Ben, so that if he does have to go, they are putting plays in the playbook that have a higher expectation, higher percentage of success for him. I like Pittsburgh in this one. I'm going to go ahead and give you the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. They are good as underdogs. They play to the level of their competition. We saw that, unfortunately, once again last week when they lost to the didn't win, but didn't lose, didn't win the tie, but they played to the level of the competition. They're an underdog here. It's a primetime game. They'll be up for it. Go ahead, take Pittsburgh Sunday night. I'm going to call for the Steelers. Win here 23-20. And no, that's not a homer call. If you've watched me all year, I go against the Pittsburgh Steelers as much as I go with them. Go ahead and take the Steelers. Sorry, Kelly, week late for them helping you out.
And Marco is correct. We're not even going to have a Survivor segment this week because we are all out. VR, your thoughts on Sunday Night Football? I really did want to make Pittsburgh my best bet, but I had to call an audible before the show started because it is off the board in so many places.
Said 100% what he said. I agree with everything Marco said. The truth be told, I like Pittsburgh in this spot. I really think this shouldn't be more than around a field goal favorite. I think it should have been around there. Add juice to it, maybe tax it 3 - 20 and see if the market moves it through that key number and then takes off. Because I think Chargers are a little overvalued, and we've seen them get exploited here over this last month when they stepped up that level of opposition. We gave them so much credit for beating Kansas City. But when you look, even at their wins, they're one-score games. Other than the Vegas win, they've been in coin flips. All of their games have been like more or less coin flip games. Even when they cover, they're not going out there and dominating. They're very small favorites that barely get it done, or underdogs that, small dogs, coin flip games that win outright, that type. But it's not like they've been touchdown favorites and going out there and outperforming the betting market. That's not the case. In fact, I don't think, if my memory serves me correct, that they've been even higher than 4 or 5 point favorites this entire season. So I think this is totally based on the Pittsburgh quarterback situation, which, again, I think is being mispriced. It's difficult because you can't put too much stock in those analytics because of the quarterback situation. So you have to weigh that also. But even with all that said, let's look at the defensive side of the ball. And once again, let's look at passing success rate. LA Chargers, 22nd in the league. Pittsburgh Steelers, 14th. So I think even with not your guy at quarterback, you're going to have an easier time against this defense. And I think on the flip side, that Pittsburgh D is going to be able to keep them in the game. Again, anything more than a field goal is a gift. Give me the Steelers. And of course, it's got sprinkle all over it because it's the NFL. And if you're betting an underdog NFL, you got to have something on that money line.
I agree. Let's see where this one moves, whether it is Mason Rudolph or Big Ben under center. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's time for some T&A with Ralph Michaels and figure out who the guys are teasing for this week in the NFL.
The WagerTalk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.
Welcome back to Bet On It. Is now time for my favorite guy with the pinpoint. That's right, the stat daddy himself, Ralph Michaels. Ralph, NFL season, we're into week 11. I cannot believe that the season is just flying by this fast, but that means you have lots of data, lots of information, and you have a chart for us this week.
Well, you know me. I've gone on VR type rants on this show about people talking about revenge. Okay, well, let's see. Every freaking game in the NFL has revenge because everyone's played each other. Every NBA game has revenge. So quit saying revenge just because you want to use the term. I think
wait, time out. I would like to establish this from a Bet On It standpoint because we talk about this all the time. You cannot quantify revenge. Yes, if you want to talk about it because you have a media spot and you feel like it's going to help support your case, fine. But you're right. It is worth 0 points to the betting line.
Now, I will say this. There are times in college basketball when you're playing a second opponent in the same season. Same in the NFL. I think the data is you're going to see somewhat surprising, but there are some situations. So when you're playing an opponent the second time of the year, or perhaps you have playoff revenge, I do perhaps put that into my handicapping. But how many times are we going to read coming up now? We're halfway through the season, and division teams are now playing each other for the second time. So how many times are we going to read, oh, they lost the first game, they have revenge in the second matchup? I've got a chart, Kelly, which is going to shake up some people here. And if our guys behind the screen can post it, thank you very much. Blindly, if you look at the NFL division teams that lost the first game and are playing for the second time in the same season, you see the team that lost the first game has covered 51.6% of the time since 2015. So it's basically a break-even situation, actually just under the Mendoza line when you add juice. But how about this? How about when I broke out home favorites, home dogs, away favorites, and away dogs? So let me set the situation. You played game number 1 against a division foe on the road and you lost. You now come home and you're the home favorite. I'm going to bet we read this numerous times. That home favorite has an edge. Guess what? Since 2015, division home favorites, same season revenge, 43.9% against the spread. That is a myth buster. Home dogs that lost the first game on the road, 46.2%. Looking at the chart, if you lost the first game at home and now you're an away favorite, that is in the green, 72% against the spread. And if you lost the first game and now you're an away dog, you're 53.8% against the spread. Remember, division foes know each other very well. Games tend to be closer. You don't need margin. You just try to get the W. So again, I'm looking forward to reading all these. Oh, this team's a home favorite and they lost their first meeting and they have revenge. Folks, that's not true. And I'm glad we can bring the true data for you on Bet On It to bust that myth.
So,
Kelly,
Ralph, I'd like to go back to the really quick though. I'd like to go back to the home favorites here. Excuse me. The chart's gone now, but in regards
He'll put it back up.
Thank you. In regards to the away favorites, where it says 72%, I know it's a small 25 game sample size. Is that because maybe a starting quarterback got hurt, or there was a reason why they are now an away favorite as opposed to an away dog?
Well, I'm going to say probably almost all of those games you were a home favorite, but you might have been a team that, let's say you're the Buffalo Bills or one of these big upsets. You might have been a team that was a 10-point favorite at home, lost outright, and now you're a 2 or a 3-point away favorite. So I'm guessing a lot of those were teams that got upset as a big home favorite in the opening game and then came back as a very small away favorite in the second game and handled business to the tune of 72%.
Okay, that's just what I wanted a little clarification on. That makes a lot more sense because I was trying to figure out how else that would be. Probably, like you said, over a touchdown favorite at home, which we see happen, especially in weeks like last week.
Absolutely. Now I want to talk about home dogs in the NFL of 3.5 or more. Now, I broke down home dogs in the NFL week by week. And you're going to see green, you're going to see red. It goes back and forth. And there's no true pattern until we get to this week number 6, game number 7 and on. NFL home dogs later in the year of 3.5 or more have only covered 36.3%. Atlanta against New England, Jacksonville against San Francisco, and Chicago against Baltimore fit those roles. So early in the year, home dogs do much better than they do later in the year. But from week 7 on, those home dogs of 3.5 or more have been a fade, a 63% fade. I've got a division road team with a buy on deck. We've talked about buys on deck before. We talked about teams off buys, but Arizona's in a spot. I'm not sure how much I put into this. Yes, it's very important to have a buy on deck. NFL players know that they're not going to have a week of practice. They want that good performance going into that week. So division road teams with a buy on deck like Arizona against Seattle have gone 33-17-1 against the spread, 66% ATS. Again, Arizona fits into that category. Jets are playing Miami, Kelly. I have 2 systems that both fit Miami. First one of my favorites. A team off a straight up an ATS win against a team off a straight up an ATS loss and the line between the 4s. So you're playing a very evenly matched opponent. You're coming in with positive momentum. Your opponent's coming up with negative momentum, just like Miami is against the New York Jets. Those teams, 61.5%. They cover the spread. And if they're on the road, like Miami is this week, they have covered 70.7%. So Miami in a very strong situation there. And then I wanted to look at how teams off Thursday Night Football do off an upset. We all watched Miami beat Baltimore last week. You're off a big upset on national TV. You have extra rest. Not many, only 19 in the last 7 years. Thursday night teams off an upset, and you're now a favorite. Like Miami have gone 14-5, 73.7%. So Miami in 2 different situations. And lastly, both teams won as a dog. What game does that apply to this week? Well, Carolina Panthers won as a dog. Washington Redskins look great winning as a dog. When both teams won as a dog, the home favorite has gone 64% since 2013, 21-12. That's a lean to the Carolina Panthers playing their old head coach in Carolina.
That's really interesting. I'm really glad you brought that up because I didn't want to get talked into playing the Jets this week anyway. I kind of thought maybe Miami was being a little overvalued. So thank you, Ralph. So I can go to my little chalkboard, right? I will not bet the Jets. I will not bet the Jets. I will not bet the Jets. Make sure you guys are going over to Twitter and giving Ralph a follow at CalSportsLV. Have a question for Ralph? Shoot it to us on Twitter, and we'll try to get all those questions answered. Now I'm going to kick it back to 2 of my favorite guys. That's right, Marco and VR for the teaser spots this week.
Like our videos, then subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you'll always be the first to know when there's new content available.
Welcome back in, guys. We have a ton of teaser options for this week. I'm Kelly Stewart, joined with Marco D'Angelo and Gianni Corrales. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. Again, tons of dogs to tease up through that key number of 3 and 7. Who are you going with for this week?
Well, Kelly, this one for me this week is an automatic no-brainer to look at, and it's kind of the same theme. We got a small road favorite in a division matchup. We're going to tease those home dogs, those divisional home dogs up through the key numbers. We're getting through the 3, the 4, the 6, and the 7, and that is teasing Minnesota plus the points. They are currently plus 2 to Green Bay. You get the 6. We got them up to 8 now. And then the other one is Arizona and Seattle. Same situation there. We've got Arizona as a 2.5-point favorite right now. We're getting Seattle up to 8.5. And granted, there's some quarterback question marks there. We're not sure on Kyler Murray or not. What we do know is we got Russell Wilson back last week. He looked like a rusty Russell Wilson. That was the first time that in his career that he missed any NFL starts. But now he's got a second week under his belt, a second week of practice. Should be better this week. And I look for them to hang with Arizona to get the job done. So my teaser this week, it is as Wong as it gets, but if I'm Wong, I don't, well, you know what we're trying to go there.
Oh my God. Marco. Marco. You crack me up. You turn 60 years old and you come up with all the old guy euphemisms, I swear. There's one of them in the college segment as well. Something about grasshopper, knee high. I don't know. That being said, VR,
don't make me yell, get off my lawn, Kelly.
Love to see it. All right, VR, your thoughts on this week's Wongable teasers.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. One of the groups I work with actually bet a teaser. The teaser that they bet was Buffalo -1. And I think the reason they did it is simple. It's 7.5. It's going there. I mean, right now it's sitting at 7 -120, pretty much at the sharpest spots. And 7 -120 is the same as 7.5 -105. And it's 7.5 -105. It's going to 7.5 -110. So I think they're just simply getting out ahead of the market. And instead of falling with a plus, ending with a +1.5 by betting it later in the week, they get, a -1.5. They get a -1 by predicting which way it's going to go. I think it makes sense. And I didn't use that as mine this week because I actually like the Arizona side. So it would contradict a position that I took. I bet Arizona on the money line, gave it out to subscribers as well. So instead, as my teaser this week, and I haven't released this as a play or anything like that. Again, I think that I've explained very well. Even we'll use the word taught you how to tease games. So you should be able to do it easily now on your own. I shouldn't have to send them out to subscribers. I shouldn't have to, share all the Wong. You could do that now. So I'm trying to get a win to keep this screen. The teaser I'm going to go with is Buffalo because, again, I used Buffalo. I gave Buffalo to subscribers already. What did I give Buffalo out at? 7? About 6.5. 7, excuse me. I gave Buffalo -7 to subscribers as a best bet, 4% play. So let's use them in my teaser since they also had them in their teaser. So we'll go Buffalo -1. And another side I haven't used, but they fall into the Wong, and that's New Orleans. And I'm going to add the Saints. I'm a fan, number one. It's a Wong teaser at +7.5. But what sticks out to me more than anything else is that total of 43.5. Again, you never tease totals because there's so much variance in scoring, but the lower the total, the lower the market expects the scoring to be. So when there's expected less points, the teaser is more valuable because each point is worth more. That's why you don't tease basketball. 4 points don't matter when you're going to score 120. They're meaningless. But if you're only going to score 17 each, 20 each, 6 matter very much. So let's go with Saints and let's go with Buffalo. And forgive me for going long sometimes, but my goal, again, is to always educate you more than any pick I'm going to give you, is to help you become more sharper, more efficient bettors, whether you're doing this with hard-earned money, which you should be very cautious, or whether you're doing it for entertainment, you should still not be handing your money over to them. The fact that I'm seeing people actually advertising, oh, people are taking it too seriously with the betting. Why shouldn't we? Dude, what are you talking about? People are losing houses, their families and shit like that. You got to at least let them know the right way. There's young people learning how to bet every day, and they're watching YouTubers and these people that act like they have money or they're successful gamblers, and they're telling them to tease these totals or put these parlays in and do all this nonsense. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to end up losing their money, and some of them, unfortunately, are going to have, whether it's a sickness or whatever they consider gambling to be, it's going to create problems. And I'm here, again, I've seen too much of that living here for as long as I can. You could fast forward this shit. I don't care. To me, it's more important because I love you guys. It's the community I care about. So I hope you respect that. And again, my goal is to help you do the right thing and avoid the mistakes I've done, because I've made every mistake possible. Been broke, lost bankrolls. Like I said, I was 240 pounds. I've done it all the wrong things. If you do the right things, good things happen. So best of luck this week. That's my teaser.
I have done a lot of wrong things too, but luckily I've had some really great mentors like Marco and VR along the way. My teaser for this week is going to be Seattle and Minnesota. I tweeted that out yesterday, so make sure you get that in. It is still available. And I know it's not quite long because of the high total on the Minnesota game, but I do think getting over a touchdown with both of those teams in divisional spots is worth the price you pay. That should be no more than -110. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Is a Steam game coming up. We have a trap or a sandwich. And oh, by the way, we've got some barking dogs this week in the NFL for you.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
7 days for under $10 a day. There are 2 college football games Tuesday night, 4 NFL and 2 college football games on Thanksgiving, 16 college football games on Black Friday, plus a full Saturday and Sunday of college football and NFL action. Add in any NBA, college basketball, and NHL action, and it's an awesome week of sports. We are so very thankful that you are current or maybe a new client of WagerTalk, and we want to give you our best once-a-year price for a 7-day all-sport, all-access package. Enjoy the holiday with family and friends, and don't worry about missing plays throughout the week if you're traveling. That's right, only $69 for 7 full days of college football, NFL, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and any other plays your favorite capper releases. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels for those hitting the road from our WagerTalk family to yours.
Welcome back to Bet On It. Each and every week, VR shares with us this freight train of a play, one that has gotten absolutely hammered by the sharps, and we call it the Steam Game of the Week.
And we're going to start bright and early because we're getting involved on Thursday night. I'm trying to share my best stuff with you, and I gave out the under 48 to my subscribers as a 4% play. That counts as a best bet. At 47.5, where it's there are 48s out there anyway. Grade it where you want. It's still plus EV all the way down to 46. Bottom line is this line is just way too high. We talked about the game earlier. I told you how much problems Atlanta's going to have scoring, even moving the ball, having success passing against New England, whose defense is 4th in the league in defense success rate against the pass. Doesn't get much better than that. So even at home, Atlanta's going to have some problems. But like I said, Atlanta, if there's one thing, they're going to be they're against the run, they're at average or even a little better than the NFL. And because of that, they're going to have an easier time defending against that New England pass. So I think you're going to see some of those drives settle for field goals. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The fact it's indoors, the fact it's on prime time, all of that adds to the high number. But I just don't see how these two teams are going to get up to 50 points. Again, this New England defense, I look over the last 4 games, only one team scored more than 13 against them. And look at Atlanta. This offense is not going to be able to do much better than that. And I don't see New England putting up 30 by themselves. I always say, when you get those totals in NFL over 45, in college football over 55, more times than not, you need two teams to get an over. Like if you're going to just depend on one team to do all the scoring, it's going to be tough to get that over in. I think this is one of those games. So under is my steam play for this week.
VR and Marco both agree on that under. That means I'm getting involved on Thursday night now. I'm going to take that under 47.5 points. Marco kind of confused me before we started the show. I said, oh, Marco, we must have a trap game for this week because he said the deli is closed. And Marco said,
I said, no, we're probably going to get it closed after we serve this sandwich today. This is one of those ones. You remember when you were a kid and your mom put something in front of you and you said, what's that? I don't want to eat it. She says, be quiet, eat it. It's good for you. Well, that's what I'm going to tell you this week. Be quiet and eat it. It's good for you. We're taking the Houston Texans plus 10.5. Yeah, don't question it. I'll tell you why, but this is one of those ones where you got to say, Marco, are you absolutely nuts? You turned 60? Did you go senile? No, I didn't. Tennessee, if they bring it one more week and they can take my money, I'll hand it to them. They earned it. This is a team, look at what they've done over the last 6 weeks. They have played Buffalo. They won. Kansas City. They won. Went on the road and played Indianapolis, a huge division game. Won it in overtime, which essentially nailed down the division for them because it gave them a 3-game lead. It was really a 4-game lead because of the tiebreaker, beating Indianapolis twice. Then they go on the road on Sunday Night Football, without Derrick Henry, and beat the Rams. Now, we went against them last week. We felt a little bit of a letdown coming. They still managed to get the win as the Saints missed the 2-point conversion. I'll be honest, I was rooting for them to miss the 2-point conversion. I wanted to just cash that ticket right there, not go to overtime. We got it. And now they play Houston. How in the world could they be excited about playing the Texans? This team can't get out of their own way. Well, I'm going to point out a couple things. Houston's coming off a bye week. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You've got a Tennessee team that's all fat and sassy. Houston's last game, although it was ugly, they lost to Miami 17-9 in a 9-turnover combined error-prone game from both teams. They managed to lose 17-9. That was Tyrod Taylor's first game back from the injury. He was rusty. Now he's had 2 weeks to prepare, had a game under his belt to get his legs back, and they'll have a game plan designed to attack this Tennessee team. And I said, Tennessee, what are they going to be excited about? Well, you definitely can't be excited about Houston. And then look at who is on deck. The surging New England Patriots. Not only is it the Patriots and Belichick, you always get up for them no matter what the records are, but who's the coach for Tennessee? Mike Vrabel. And he is one of those ones where Belichick was his mentor. You know how those guys love to get up for playing coach. Well, we're going to go ahead. Look at Tennessee. They're fat and sassy. I'll take those double digits in the NFL in a division game, in a game where Tennessee's got to figure, hey, we just got to show up. We're going to win this game. I'll take Houston plus the points. I won't be bold. I'm not going to call for the sprinkle, but I am going to tell you it's going to go down to the wire. I've got Tennessee winning 30-27, but that 10.5 looks awful nice. Let's go ahead and take the sandwich spot with Houston, and hopefully the deli will still be open next week.
I think I'm going to be physically ill after eating that sandwich. I hope Marco is right, though. That is not a team. I basically just said I'm not betting on this team at all this year. This is a team that has just been horrific between injuries and drama and all of this other crazy distractions for them. Good luck to Marco. And if I end up on this stinky sandwich, he will be getting insane texts from me all day Sunday. VR, I'm going to kick it back to you. It's time for some barking dogs. Marco said that Houston might be worth a sprinkle, but I'm looking for ones just a little bit under a touchdown that may be a little more worthy.
Yeah, this is under a touchdown, but I think you're going to think this is even less worthy than what Marco said. here as the disclaimer. I'm going to have to get up the guts between now and Sunday to get to the window with this bet, depending on how the week's going, how I'm feeling that day, or how bets come in and metrics, more things I uncover, it will decide whether I make this a premium play. It's the one I haven't gotten to the window yet or released the subscribers, but I'm using it on the show where I do want to win because the record matters to me. Again, I do like this side, and I shared to you what I already released. You know I like the New England side. You know I bet it and gave it out. You know I gave the under out is even a bigger play. You know I gave Buffalo out. You know I like the Arizona side also. That's why I didn't use the Seattle teaser. So I share as much as I can premium, but this just isn't there yet. We'll see if it gets there. And that's the New York Jets, not to go long. And the reason is simple. I'm going to say it again. And I jumped, what's it called? I heard Ralph's trends against it, but I just can't overlook the fact that Miami Dolphins are a road favorite, and they're coming off a game where everything went their way. And let me explain. Baltimore fumbles the ball twice, and as randomness suggests, they lose one, get the other. So Miami's plus, one in turnovers there, right? Flip side of the ball, Miami fumbles the ball twice. They get it both times. Randomness, again, pokes its head on the Miami side, doesn't help out Baltimore at all. You look at the quarterback situation, even there, Baltimore has the turnover. Miami won the turnover battle without even trying, and you're going to win football games like that. That, to me, was a random game that they're getting way too much credit for. And then when you look, again, with the Houston win, doesn't give this team any reason to be road favorites of now more than 3. There's 3.5s all over the board. Again, to me, I can't just make it any more simpler than that. Yeah, the Jets, we know what the Jets are. They're bottom 5 in the league, but Miami's bottom 10 in the league power rating as well. And to be honest with you, now with Flacco under center, that's what I see, at least in the depth chart. I think that's a positive. When I look into the QBR and the real QBR of White and Wilson, there's not going to be a downgrade. So for me, this is just one of those games where one of those bets where I really hope I get to the window because I'm very confident it's plus EV. I just need more confirmation to actually fire. You know, some of those predictive metrics or just one of those groups that I highly respect that give me just some more strength because the Jets, again, you got to have some. If you're willing to lay minus 110 to win 100 on the Jets, you got to have a strong argument, or else there's probably better trades you can make with that money. So for me to urge my subscribers to make that trade, I'm going to need a little stronger confirmation, but I just don't see how Miami should be favored here. Finally, let me share some gold with you guys. And I'm going to give you a UFC best bet. This is a 4% play I gave subscribers for Saturday. And the play, I give more than, no, I give the strongest one that I've given, and it's a minus 110 right now, perfect. Fares Ziam, Z-I-A-M, Ziam over Terrence McKinney. Again, minus 110, I won't go into an analysis. I did that on UFC on the Line. We broke down this fight a week ahead. And more importantly, I also like the under. So you may want to look at taking Ziam to win inside the distance, plus 250. I've given him out as a 4% play at minus 110. I may add 1% at plus 250 to get it done inside the distance. Because I do think this one goes under the 2.5, but it's minus 180. It's a little chalky, so maybe we get creative because I do like the Ziam side. Again, that's gold. Whether you follow or fade, hope you cash it, don't trash it.
Thank you, VR, for that gold. And thank you for basically making me retract what I just told Ralph less than 2 segments ago. I just said I didn't want to bet the goddamn Jets, and now I'm probably going to bet the goddamn Jets. So maybe you'll get some of those angry text messages that Marco was subjected to from last week. And now we're going to kick it to Marco for his barking dog. Marco, who is barking for you this week in the NFL?
Well, Kelly, maybe you'll like this one. It's a divisional home dog. And now that, rumors have it that you and Coach Zimmer are, okay again, last week he delivered the goods. You guys had, nice dinner with that win with the Vikings. I'm going to go to the Minnesota Vikings to do it 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, I know Green Bay's rolling. Guys, this is one of those ones where we say, I could have used this in an earlier segment. If I didn't go with the deli sandwich that I did, could have threw out a trap game. And why would this have been a trap? Well, anytime you can get Green Bay in a situation where it's basically just pick the winner, doesn't that look pretty damn easy? This is a team. They lost their first game of the season. They got steamrolled in that first game. And then they rolled off 7 in a row before they lost to Kansas City, a game in which Aaron Rodgers missed due to COVID protocols. They bounced right back last week with a 17-0 shutout victory over Seattle. Russell Wilson came back, but we saw he was rusty. He only had 133 yards passing last week in climate weather in Green Bay as well. But this week, Minnesota, they're playing at home. It's a division game. And the Vikings, although they've been somewhat of a disappointment this year, 4-5, this is the only team that I felt really could compete with Green Bay for the division this year. If you look at the 5 losses, they've come by a grand total of 18 points. One of those 5 losses was a 7-point loss, 14-7 to Cleveland. That means the other losses were all tight. A 3-point, 1-point, 4-point, and 3-point loss. I see Minnesota turning the tables today. This is basically their season. If they want any chance of staying in a division race, they need to get to 500. And that's another little motivational edge, not only because it's a division game, but anytime you have a team this late in the season where they're sitting 1 game under 500, nobody wants to be a losing team. You lose, you're going to be 2 games under 500, and that ruins your chances. Doesn't eliminate them, but makes it a lot tougher to become a winning team that year. This is a big game for Minnesota, and I think they get it done. One other thing that I'm going to point out about Green Bay, when you think about Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, you think about a lot of points. This is a team now that has gone 5 straight games, and they've scored 24 or fewer points 5 straight games. I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota to get the job done. Kirk Cousins, we're counting on you. This is a normal Sunday game. There's no cameras, so you don't have to be worried. Well, there's cameras, but they're not nighttime cameras on a Thursday night, a Sunday night, or a Monday night game. So you should be fine. And we moved the clocks back an hour too for you, so everything should be good. We'll go Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. That is my barking dog.
Marco with the perfect intro into best bets, but too bad. We got to take a commercial break.
Why pay regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of bettor. From as low as $90 gets $100, all the way up to $3,500 gets you $5,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
Welcome back to Bet On. It is time for best bets. Now, I mentioned earlier that I really wanted to bet Marco's Pittsburgh Steelers after the debacle that was last week. But since it's off the board in a lot of spots, not sure if it's going to be Rudolph, not sure if it's going to be Big Ben, I decided to pick my 1B. Usually I have like one play I like just a little bit more than the other. This one is part of my teaser segment as well. I like the Minnesota Vikings. Everything Marco alluded to Here's the Packers on a 9-0 against the spread run since they lost to week 1 versus the Saints. Look, this team has been on a mission. This is going to be a trap game, if you will. The whole world's going to want to bet the Green Bay Packers, but I think Coach Zimmer, my guy, that's right, he's got something up his sleeve, and I'm going to leave the rest of the analysis to Gianni Corrales, the Greek gambler. VR, you have the floor.
Yeah, this is my best bet this week. Green Bay's in some trouble in this game. And I know they may look like the much better team when you immediately look at the superficial shit, like the record, even maybe the last few games or whatever. But if you dig a little deeper, you're going to find out these teams, again, are a lot closer than this number reflects. When I first saw it, Kelly, I swear to you, I thought Green Bay was home. And I'm like, wait, if it's under a field goal, do they have an injury? And I look. And then I saw, wait, it's Aaron Jones is doubtful. But I'm like, no way. That's not the reason. And then I was like, okay, it's because they're on the road. There's no way they should be this big of a favorite. Number one, let's get back to that metric that I speak about, passing success rate. Offensively, Minnesota is number 16. Green Bay, 18th. Yeah, you would think they were better, right? Not so fast. Defensive side of the ball, not even close. Green Bay, 15th. Minnesota, 5th in the NFL. That's the metric that matters the most. And then let's dig a little deeper. Yards per point. When you look at this Green Bay team on the road, 17.8 yards per point against a defense in Minnesota, where at home takes offenses 20.9 yards per point. They're going to have some trouble putting up points on Minnesota on Sunday. Flip side, look for Minnesota to be able to put some offensive points on Green Bay, who defensively, 13.8 yards per point. Almost a touchdown worse than Minnesota's defensive number at home. Now, granted, you got to weigh road and home, but even looking at this Minnesota team, they're a 500 team at home. So how much is their home field advantage? And the fact that there's that much of a difference, again, this number is based on nothing more, Kelly, than not just the 8-2 record, but more importantly, the 9-1 spread record of Green Bay. They've been outperforming the betting market. I admit that. I think they're defying probability. I don't think anyone could continue that forever. There's always going to be a regression when that's the case. And in this spot, I think that's exactly what we're going to get with Green Bay, where just look at it as the obvious, and that the regression for this team is definitely coming. And I don't think that if you dig into the metrics, they reflect what that ATS and straight up records show. And that's where we get so much value where Minnesota, and I can't say it again enough, that if you place a good bet, you can't control the outcome. And I'm very confident that Minnesota getting any points in this spot, yes, I said it, any points is plus EV. They're +2, +2.5, +1 if it gets to, regardless. I like Minnesota to win this game outright. They're the best bet this week.
I love them to win this game outright too, VR. One thing I'd like to add to it is that this Minnesota stadium gets absolutely rocking. I know we don't give a lot to home field advantage in the NFL, and I think that's something that actually hurt this team a lot last year. It should be rocking. The horns are going to be going, especially against their most hated rival. That's right, the Green Bay Packers. As I mentioned, I love them in a teaser. I love them +2. It is down to 2 on the WagerTalk odds screen, and I love them on the money line. So glad to hear everybody's in agreement with the Vikings. Marco D'Angelo, who is your best bet for this week in the NFL?
Well, Kelly, hopefully this one will be as easy as last week's was with Dallas. We're going to go with Baltimore, and they're coming off a stinker, no question about it, losing to Miami on Thursday night. But let's be honest, they were in a horrible spot. They were playing on a Thursday night on the road against a team they don't generally face each year. That's always a negative. And then looking back they were coming off the Sunday game 4 days earlier. They played an overtime game against the very same Minnesota Vikings that we just got done talking about. And not only did that game go to overtime, if you remember, they played the entire overtime frame. They kicked the game-winning field goal on the final play of overtime. So that was a horrible spot for them. I think they'll be better prepared this week with the extra day's rest. And the reason I bring out the extra day's rest is because Chicago is coming off their bye week. So usually that would be a big advantage for a team coming off a bye week playing a team that didn't. But it's negated by the fact that Baltimore played on Thursday. So it's 2 weeks in 10 days, not that big of a difference. Also, it goes down to fundamentals. Coaching-wise, not even close between Harbaugh in this one and Nagy. Also, let's look at the nuts and bolts. We know what Baltimore likes to do. Well, Chicago has trouble stopping the run. In fact, they're 24th in the NFL at stopping the run, allowing 123 yards per game. Baltimore, they're the number one rushing team in the NFL. They rush for 154 yards per game. We all know when the running game is working, it makes the passing game that much better. And if Chicago can't slow down the running game and Lamar Jackson will beat you with his feet. He'll beat you with some big pass plays as well. And let's look about the other side of the coin here. If Baltimore's running the football successfully, that means they're going to win time of possession. If they win time of possession, that's going to limit the number of chances that the Bears have. And the Bears with Justin Fields has not moved the ball on a consistent basis. So you throw in a couple 3 and outs for the Bears and extra possessions for Baltimore and controlling the clock, it could become ugly for the Chicago Bears. I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore. I'm going to lay the points on the road. I'm calling it Baltimore, 31-17. That is my best bet of the week.
Marco's calling for that Ravens bounce back game. They may be a little undervalued after losing to the Dolphins on Thursday night. Let's take a quick break, but when we come back, it's time for the recap.
The Wager Talk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out. 7 days for under $10 a day. There are 2 college football games Tuesday night, 4 NFL and 2 college football games on Thanksgiving, 16 college football games on Black Friday, plus a full Saturday and Sunday of college football and NFL action. Add in any NBA, college basketball, and NHL action, and it's an awesome week of sports. We are so very thankful that you are current or maybe a new client of WagerTalk, and we want to give you our best once-a-year price for a 7-day all-sport, all-access package. Enjoy the holiday with family and friends, and don't worry about missing plays throughout the week if you're traveling. That's right, only $69 for 7 full days of college football, NFL, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and any other plays your favorite capper releases. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels for those hitting the road from our WagerTalk family to yours.
All right, as we wrap up the show, put a nice, pretty bow up for you guys. I wanted you to smash that like button, jump in the comments, tell us you love the show, tell us you hate the show. I don't care. Just help out our algorithm to make the big man in charge, Johnny Detroit, super happy so he keeps writing those checks. Gianni, Thursday Night Football, he said he played New England -6.5 already. Marco likes the under, which is coincidentally VR's Steam game of the week. For Sunday night, we're all in agreement with Pittsburgh. They almost made my best bet. Hopefully we can see it back on the board here in a few more spots shortly. Teasers this week, I'm on Seattle and the Vikings, just like Marco is. VR says Buffalo down to 1, New Orleans up to 7.5. Barking Dogs, New York Jets for VR. Scares the crap out of me after the TNA segment with Ralph, but here we go. I'm going to be up on that chalkboard hating myself on Sunday, or texting VR how much I love him for telling me about this play. Don't know which one it's going to be, but Marco's barking dog is the same as VR and I's best bet. That's right, the Minnesota Vikings +2.5. Let's get that money line sprinkle. Best bet for Marco, Baltimore minus 4.5. Make sure you guys check out our college football edition of Bet On It. It was out first, and I hope you guys enjoyed this show as much as we always do doing it. Again, I know I pressure you guys a lot to jump in the comments, retweet, do all that you can, and that is because we want to help you guys out. We want everybody that watches the show to make better betting decisions. From Gianni, Marco, Ralph, and myself, good luck this week. Until next week, let's bet on it.